Rev up your engines! Now this is a regular Camry hybrid. It's not a plug-in, so it's only got a gas cap. Just fill it up with gas like a regular car. There is no plug. You do not plug it in anywhere. It's the same as a regular internal combustion gasoline or diesel engine. It uses fuel to make it go. The hybrid system is more of a boost. Now take plug-in hybrids, which aren't that popular. Those have a plug. You can plug them in, and some of the better ones, like a RAV4 plug-in, you can drive up to 45 miles, even at highway speeds, on electricity alone, but you do have to plug them in if you want to drive them on electricity alone. They're much more complex than this, and you have to deal with plugging them in, which most people don't want to deal with. And being a regular hybrid, not a plug-in, it's got a big advantage. The battery is not under the car, susceptible to snow and ice and all that crap. The battery's inside the car. Now I put this nice little container because my wife likes things being neat. Slide this out of the way. Ignore the ice skates. And the electric battery is inside here, sealed from the elements. They last longer that way. They're not exposed to the elements. They do have their own cooling system, okay? You got radiator coolant for the radiator, and you also have radiator coolant that cools the battery. It's in the back. And of course, when it's cold in the winter, it'll also help keep the battery warm so that it won't operate poorly. Realize batteries don't like really cold weather. Better gas mileage. 241 horsepower. Got a lot of horsepower. One of the big differences, there's no 12-volt battery sitting under the hood. Now realize there is a 12-volt battery, and a lot of people forget about it. 12-volt battery here is inside the trunk. You can see as we fold the rubber back, take the little panel out. Okay, there is the 12-volt battery. Now technically it's not used to start the car. The car is started by the motor generator and the bigger battery pack, but it's used to get things going. So even though you don't see it, meaning you're not going to think about it, it's still there. So even with a hybrid car, every so often you want to test the little battery in the trunk. You just use a regular battery tester, no different than any other. You just connect positive, positive, negative, negative, and this is a 345 cold cranking amp battery. Regular battery, cold cranking, and like I said, it was 345. So 345. All right, enter. 100%. Now, even though it technically doesn't start the car, it still does. If that battery goes dead, the car won't start. You'll have to replace it. So like any car, you want to check it every once in a while. But these batteries can last a really long time, much longer than regular car batteries, because the car is mainly being started by the large battery pack and the motor generator that's under the hood. So it's not using this to strain, to crank the engine over, so they have a tendency of lasting longer. And speaking of lasting longer, the internal combustion engines in these things will generally last longer than a hybrid because they're not strained as much. When you accelerate from a stop, it's using a lot of the electricity. When you step on the brake, it's regenerating electricity, so there's less strain on the engine. And especially a nice 2.5 liter one like this, hey, it's got a lot of power. You want it to last as long as possible, and with the hybrid system, these engines tend to last longer. Because of the regenerative braking system, the brakes last a lot longer. They're not used as much. A lot of the kinetic energy of the car going down the road when you hit the brakes is regenerated into electricity instead of wasted as heat that wears the brake pads out faster. It's not uncommon for my customers with the hybrid cars to get 150,000 miles or more out of their original set of brake pads. I've actually had quite a few never do a brake job. They get rid of the car before the brakes are ever worn out. I pull off the wheels and say, you still got plenty of brake pads left because you're not using them. And at prices these days, Hey, not having to do a brake job is going to save you a ton of money. Of course, being a hybrid system, you can see the orange. The warning, orange is high power, right? You save a lot of money on gas. They get good gas mileage. This one's averaging about 46 miles a gallon. Combo City Highway, they actually get a little bit better in the city than they do on the highway. A lot of that has to do with the electric motor part because, hey, if the motor isn't straining as much when you accelerate from 0 to say 30 because it's using a lot of the electric motor, your internal combustion engine is going to last longer. This Toyota has an eCVT transmission, electronic CVT transmission. And even if it's a little eCVT for electric CVT, there's a big difference. It doesn't have belts. It doesn't have pulleys like a regular CVT that I don't like. It has actual gears. It's just that it is electronic. Now, granted, the electric motors did burn out on a bunch of the earlier Priuses because they overheated. But then the Toyota engineers, who are no fools, discovered that they could cool it using the transmission fluid, and they haven't had that problem. The Priuses haven't had problems with them burning them out either. That was decades ago, a couple decades and more, that they did have a problem, but they perfected it over time. That's the reason I bought this Camry, because hybrids are very complex. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'll show you some later with my fancy scan tool. But Toyota makes them so well that if you're going to buy a hybrid car, as far as I'm concerned, the only one I'd buy would be a Toyota. They've perfected them over decades. You see some of the Korean ones, the batteries are starting on fire, right? Some of the Jeeps, the Chrysler, Stellantis, their batteries are also starting on fire. They're no experts at building those things. These things, they just keep perfecting them year after year after year, and you should get a really long life. I've had customers with 400,000 miles on Camry hybrids, still on the original battery, still running perfectly fine. Now, the only really higher maintenance item, of course, is the hybrid battery. Now, from my experience with these, they'll go anywhere from 150,000 to 300,000 miles. When you have to replace them, you go factory, it costs you $4 or $5 grand. But by the time they need replacement, now the warranty on this is 10 years or 150,000 miles. By the time they go out, from my experience, they generally go out anywhere between 150 and 300,000 miles. That's years and years later, right? Got a 10-year warranty. By then, there are aftermarket remanufactured ones. For example, I've got a friend in Chicago who uses one of these for an Uber. And he got his hybrid battery replaced, parts and labor, for $1,200. And that was in Chicago, which is a relatively expensive city. So the price is not as high as you might think, like in an electric vehicle. I had a customer with a Mach-E electric car, Ford's electric car. It's made in Mexico, and got in a minor wreck, but it bent the battery. The battery replacement alone was $25,000. It had the high output battery. If it would have had the lower output battery, it was still going to be like $22,000. Those things are uber expensive. The pure electric cars, and then the plug-in hybrids, not as much, but it's still going to be $7,000 to $10,000 to replace the battery. That's a lot of money on these. It's not that big of a deal as they finally age. I mean, you can go factory and spend 2-3 times as much, but there's aftermarket stuff by then when they're that old. Like any other car that has an internal combustion engine, take off the beauty cover, not very beautiful, it's more sound insulation. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4 spark plugs. So you can easily change them when they wear out, but since the engine goes less because of the hybrid system, and they've got fancy iridium spark plugs, right? I've seen these things 150,000 and the spark plugs aren't even worn out yet. This has Toyota's famous dual system. Here's the high pressure fuel pump that runs the gasoline direct injection system, and there's also regular intake manifold fuel injectors to keep the valves clean. So with this design, you just use regular gas, it runs fine, and it will not carbon up, because the injectors on the intake clean the inside of the intake valves. If it was only GDI, yeah, you'd have to worry a little bit about carbon buildup, but with these, you don't have to worry about that. So one less thing to worry about. And the rest of the vehicle's still like a regular vehicle, okay? Couple snaps, air filters in there, easy to get to, easy to replace. It has electronic power steering, and interesting enough, it also has electronic air conditioning. The air conditioning system is not run by a belt. It is electronic. These are pretty tried and true systems. Same kind of system they've been using for years in the Priuses, right? If you ever had a car where the AC compressor went bad and it cost a fortune to replace, I have yet to see one of these break. The only ones I ever saw break weren't the car's fault. It was because they were in a wreck and the car got all smashed up. They ended up totaling the car anyway, so yeah, they get hit that bad, forget it, get another car. So unlike other cars that get high gas mileage, if they have an air conditioning compressor that runs off the fan belt, they can't sit stopped not running the engine and get cool air at the same time, because hey, the belt's got to spin the compressor. This is electronic, runs off the big old battery pack in the back, and you can sit there for minutes and still have cold air coming at you. Another convenient thing. Working room is pretty easy. Now, most people aren't going to mess with the high voltage system, right? But since they don't break down very often, it's not something you really have to think about. Regular maintenance, changing the coolant, changing the spark plugs is no different than any other car. Now, when it comes to maintaining the transmission, it's no different than any other car. You can watch my videos, you can learn how to change the fluid yourself. You just drain and fill it back in. Whatever comes out, put it back in. And unlike regular CVT transmissions that cost a fortune to rebuild, and they do break down more often, as I said, I've never seen one of these break on a Camry, the eCVT. The regular CVTs, if you can even find a guy who's going to try to rebuild them, they're very hard to rebuild. I've seen people spend a lot of money. They never work right after. They go, but they don't go just right. And then they haggle with the rebuilders back and forth. Who wants to get involved in that crap? You want something that's pretty bulletproof. And these eCVTs that they're using these Camrys are pretty bulletproof. Now, as we climb inside, doesn't look like any other car. Doesn't look any different. Look, we'll start her up. And here's the gear shift. It's just like a regular gear shift. It isn't some kind of rocket ship twisting dials. You got park, reverse, neutral, drive, and if you want, you can put it where you shift it yourself with the little paddle shifters up or the little paddle shifters down. You can see there's first gear all the way up to sixth gear. Gas mileage, so I just leave it in drive. You can put it in EV mode if you want, but it'll only go like a mile or something in EV. You got Eco, Normal, and Sport. I've been fiddling with Eco. I want to see the better gas mileage. And I charge it for your phone indirect, a bunch of plugs, right? And I like the controls because it's simple and it's like a real car. You can have it off, you can put it auto, temperature up, temperature down, fan up, fan down. Got a great range, no range anxiety. It's 413 now, because it's been idling for a long time. And I've already driven at 50 miles, so, you know, like 450 something miles. Pretty good range. It's got a small gas tank. Now the gas tank only holds 13 gallons, but with that phenomenal gas mileage, you really don't care. Now, I had a Shelby Cobra that had a 13-gallon tank, and I got about, I don't know, 60 miles on one tank before it was running low. This gets a lot better gas mileage than that. Now, there is one maintenance item that you don't have in a normal car. It's not that big of a deal, but you should know about it. And that's back here. We'll pull the seat opener that's in the trunk so we can get this down. Inside here, there's an air filter. And the air filter is to cool the HV battery that's in there, the high voltage battery. Now, 30, 40, 50,000 miles, it might start to get dirty. Take it out, clean it, or replace it. But you have to every once in a while, especially if you've got dogs, cats that are in there, the hair could get sucked in, and it wouldn't cool the battery as well. Most of them have these. This one's over there. You can research that if you buy a hybrid car, just to make sure that you keep it clean. Now, as I said, these things are complex, all hybrids are. I'll show you a little bit with my fancy scan tool. Luckily, it's still got an OBD plug, just like a regular car. It plugs in here, turns itself on, just like any other car. It can be scanned. Well, there's a lot more information in one of these things. Already detected it. Toyota. We'll do standalone diagnosis. Initializing it, it's already read the VIN. You can see it's fast, Camry, HEV, Kentucky product, full topology. But I'm going to show you something that I like. There are things that you can mess around with. And in this case, we're going to go to programming customization. Because there were a couple of things that I didn't like. Now, it's got all this warning and no seat belts. Well, hardly anybody's ever going to be sitting back here except the cat and luggage and stuff when we're traveling around. And I don't like the fact that they keep warning them buzzing the seat belts weren't buckled when there's weight back there. Turn that system off. As you can see, we're going to warning. And you can see I left the driver warning buzzer on, but I turned off the passenger in both back seats because often my wife's sitting over here and she'll have to do something with the cat in the back seat. She'll take the seat belt off while we're moving because she's got to do some emergency thing. Instead of making all kinds of noise and freaking the cat out, now it doesn't make any noise. If you want, you can turn it back on, but I like it off. And you can also do any kind of adjustment you want. Check it out. You can change how many times the lane change flashes. You can change the flasher sound volume. Window opening warning, if the window's open when you're trying to lock it. Now the rear seat reminder function, I don't like that either, so I'm going to disable it, okay, and put it on here because it's got some crazy setup the way it was originally built. There you open the back doors and close them or move a seat. It puts this warning on front with seats, warning back seats, and I find it really annoying. Also customize all these different things. Even has a way you can disconnect the high voltage if you're going to work on the car. I don't advise other people to do it, but we'll scan the HV battery. There's no code, so let's go to the information system. Shows you what's going on. I've been running it a while, so it's down to 70. It'll go back to 100% as I drive. Like I say, you don't have to plug it in. Charges itself. Shows the total voltage, 258. There's a little current because I'm running the stuff where the key's turned on. Shows you the modules, even the temperature. The battery pack is okay. It better be. It's brand new, right? Module locations. Even shows you where it is between the back seats. You can go as far as you want. The engine, the hybrid control, the HV battery, radar system. I mean, you get a lot of information out of these things. Now, it used to be that you had to pay a whole bunch more for a hybrid. Well, in the case of this Camry, not really. I paid 31 grand for this beautiful car. It's the Sport Edition, right? If you pick and choose and see what you want, this thing was made in Kentucky, so it doesn't have any tax and stuff coming from Japan, right? They've been making them there for a long time. So, in this case, doesn't matter. You're not paying anymore. The only thing you can buy is the hybrid. That's all they make now, for the last couple of years at least. Some other car manufacturers, you'll pay a little bit more, but usually it's maybe $1,500 or something. It's not that big of a deal, but this is the big deal. You want a hybrid that isn't going to break down. My experience, these things hardly ever break down, right? Would I buy a Jeep one? No. Any Chrysler? No. Would I buy a Ford hybrid? No. GM hybrid? No. A lot of it has to do with the quality of the hybrid system, and all hybrids are not created equal. They're similar systems, but in terms of what lasts the longest, gets the best gas mileage, doesn't need much maintenance, it's truly a Toyota Camry. It's just a hybrid version. Now they tell you can change the oil less frequent, but I don't care. Oil is cheap, engines are expensive. I'm still gonna change the oil on this thing every 5,000 miles. I don't care. I'm not gonna bump it to 10. That's foolhardy, right? But you don't have to spend a whole bunch of money maintaining one of these things. You actually end up spending less, especially when you consider you don't need brake jobs. The regular battery's going to last longer, paying less money for gasoline. So now you know a little bit more about hybrid cars, so you can make a wise decision yourself. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.